Hello everyone and welcome for the third time back to the 20th anniversary edition of Gabriel Knight Sins of the Fathers. Now it's the third time I'm doing this intro because the game has had some weird trouble starting, and right, the reason why I'm starting it from the main menu, from the start screen, is because I'm hoping... Okay, excellent. Okay, so it didn't work. I was hoping we would get the intro cinematic for day 2 at the start there. That unfortunately didn't happen. That's okay. It's at the end of the previous video. I just kind of wanted to have it here so it would be a logical kind of carry on. Anyway, time for the newspaper.
1993. A front-page article describes the most recent of the voodoo murders. Gabriel scans it but learns nothing new. The article reiterates that the voodoo aspect of the crime is faked. Gabriel shivers. It looked real enough to him. Elsewhere, there's an article about the history of Jackson Square. Called the Plaza d'Armes under French rule, it was used for executions, firing squads, hangings, even impalement and breaking on the wheel. Yikes! Of course, these days, it's mostly a hangout for tourists, street musicians, and local artists. Gabriel also scans the Aquarius horoscope for the day. Chances of a dark star rising on this day. Do not trust your instincts.
I feel a dark star rising, all right.
What I really like about Gabriel is that he can bring his horn dog attitude into any situation, and I think that's the sort of attitude that's going to carry him through a grisly case of voodoo murders. Anyway, a walk through Jackson Square. Tourists and residents alike love Jackson Square, the French quarter park that is all thing to all people, so all things to all people. It's a respite from the heat, a spot for a picnic lunch, a place to walk the dog or sell one's artistic talents, or possibly body. You can lounge on the grass and enjoy a rendition of Saints in true NOLA style, New Orleans, I assume, style any day of the week. Few know that the history of Jackson Square is a bloody one. Called La Plaza d'Armes under French rule, it was used for public executions, firing squads, hangings, even impalement and breaking on the wheel. It's a reminder that the dark side of New Orleans is never far away. So, dark side of New Orleans, chances of a dark star rising. There's a lot of references to dark things happening. Anything? Coffee machine? Do we need coffee? Yes, we shall need some coffee.
Good coffee.
Is it good coffee? Is it coffee like you like? Is the coffee like how you like your women? Black and with a spoon in it. Anyway.
Got a minute, Grace?
What's up?
I require information on topics de research.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Doing a family tree, Gabriel?
Very funny. I mean real snakes, you know, scaly, cold-blooded. I would have thought you'd find them empathetic.
I know very little about reptiles of any kind, and prefer to keep it that way. I think there's a book on snakes around here somewhere, though.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, so there is a book on snakes. Possibly on the bookshelf. Well, let's see. Okay, so there's the world of snakes, but let's see. So there's Das Lyrik by Heinz Ritter. So German
A
poetry.
book of German poetry that once belonged to Gabriel's grandfather.
The thing to take away from here is that it's written by a man called Ritter.
Kriegen in meinen Schlaf, die Seele wühlen sie, lebendig zum Frost. Feurigen Atems, gespaltene Zunge, genießen sie jedes Mal.
That's nice. Kinda creepy, though. Who's the author?
Heinz Ritter. I'm not sure what it says, but I get the feeling this guy was one sick puppy.
So I haven't a clue what that says. I don't, and there's the NOLA as well. So I assume it's got something to do with. There's a German-English dictionary.
Spiel means game. Interesting.
Gabriel leafs through a German-English dictionary.
Spiel.
Okay, so Spiel means game. There's also Thus Spoke Zarathustra. A copy of Faust and a copy of Siddhartha. I assume this is in reference to the Gautama Buddha, Siddhartha Gautama. I don't know how you say that properly, but you know, it carries the message, fuck you. And the copy of World of Snakes. It's like World of Tanks, except everything's a little bit more slithery.
Snakes can sense their prey by vibration.
Did you know that medieval legends about dragons and giant worms are actually based on snakes? You know, dragons, devils, sea monsters. They've always been associated with snakes.
Grace, get alive.
Snakes can hunt in total darkness, they can use their sight to find their prey, but they also hunt by vibration. They are attracted to vibrations, hoping for an easy meal. They are often drawn to motors and machines for this reason. So, snakes are drawn to motors and stuff.
Snakes in a skull. Gabriel's father painted it.
What a wacky offbeat kind of guy Daddy was.
Quite well, at least it has a very descriptive name. Oh, okay, so we've got stuff to do, so let's go into the map screen. Right, so today we can visit the Voodoo Museum, the Dixieland drugstore, and let's start the day off by going to the police station, visiting good old Mosley. Good old Mosley is mostly harmless. Hello, Frick. I like having the option of taking Frick.
Got a second, officer?
What can I do you for?
I'm here to see Detective Mosley.
Yeah,
He's in his office. Go on back.
I am not only sorry, but also a little bit worried about the way the game is running today. Seems to be quite a bit of jerking, and you know, that would be okay if this game was set in Jamaica, because there is nothing that man cannot jerk. But okay, so up, down, left, right. And the reason we've done that is because we are going to need something from Detective Mosley's jacket.
Mosley, my man.
And yes, I am going into this game with, you know, knowledge. I've actually I've played this game before. I've beaten this, but I just thought it would be something fun for the channel and something a little bit more, you know, color saturated, because the journey down was a bit dark.
Can I ask you about some stuff?
You're the writer. Ask away.
Okay. Right, there's quite a few things we can ask about, so let's ask about
What can you
voodoo.
Tell me about voodoo.
There's voodoo that goes on in this city, sure. I looked into it a bit at the beginning of this case. But the voodoo stuff found at the crime scenes is all fake. It doesn't have anything to do with the real stuff. I know. I asked some experts.
Did the
It's
experts
intimidation
confirm that it
tactics,
is not the
that's
voodoo
all.
that you do?
What else can you...
I told you.
Okay.
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
Lots. Can you be more specific?
Do you know anything about the killers?
At least 20 people attend the killings. We know this from the variety of footprints found at the scenes.
Footprints. Aren't those as good as fingerprints?
No.
Can be, but we'd have to have a suspect in custody first. And the suspect would have to match one of the few distinct prints we have. Most of the footprints are smudged, trodden over, unreadable.
So essentially
These
the
guys
problem
are
with
so
footprints is
casual
that
in their
they are
expertise, it's
footprints.
maddening. Like they know we'll never find them.
Okay, number of murders.
How many murders have there been so far?
7 murders have so far been linked to the voodoo murders case. The first murder occurred about 8 weeks ago. The MO is the same in each murder. Lake Pontchartrain was the 7th.
Okay, so the MO is
What
the
kind of
same.
evidence have you found?
No fingerprints, a few bare footprints. Found a few fibers, but not many. The weirdest one was leopard fur.
Leopard fur.
We've been seeing a
Describe the
leopard in
crime
our
scene.
dreams.
Well, there's the corpse itself, minus the heart. Around where the body was killed, we find marks in flour and blood. There are traces of wax from candles, red and black. Ordinary wax candles, so the lab reports. Also blood and feathers of chickens and goat's blood. And plenty of the victim's own, of course.
Okay then. So what
What's
does
the
the...
coroner say?
Indeed.
The victim's heart is always ripped out of the chest and missing. We haven't located a single one of them.
Lovely. Any idea what they do with them?
Don't even want to know. Also, the coroner says some of the victims had heart attacks before the incision. Literally scared to death. The knife wounds are consistent with a long, narrow, wavy-edged knife. Probably a ritualistic dagger.
So the wounds are in fact consistent
Any witnesses?
with the
Nope.
knife the
There's
cursor
never
turns
been a
into
single witness.
when it's
No one's
loading.
even heard a disturbance. It's damned weird. Like they just don't want people to see, and so nobody sees nothing.
Know anything about the victims?
The victims are all out-of-towners. We still don't know why.
Oh,
Okay, so
Sure,
that's
no
enough
problem.
questions about the
Okay.
voodoo murders. What do you know
what
about
can you
New
tell me
Orleans?
about New Orleans?
You and me grew up here together. You tell me. It's a pretty nice place, even seeing the stuff I see, you know. The Carter's getting a bit too wild, though. Getting hard to control. Not quite what it was when you and me used to hang here, but... Hell, I've never known anything else.
What?
Ah, I'm too...
Okay, so nothing else.
Do you know anything
Anything
about
about snakes?
The only thing I know about snakes is that I don't like them.
Oh, you've made Big Boss cry.
Tell me about
Twat.
yourself.
For the book?
Sure, why not?
Okay. What do you want to know?
I want to know why, since you're both natives of New Orleans, why does Gabriel have such a dark, deep, suave voice? And you sound a lot like, I don't know, you sound more like me than you do Gabriel, which is, you know, it's not good for you.
How do you like working on the police force?
Are you kidding? You know I love being a cop. In New Orleans, it's the best place in the world to be one.
What are your plans for the future?
Well, you know, I don't like to count my chickens before they're hatched, but I don't see why I can't be the chief of police of New Orleans someday. I already know the mayor, and my track record is one of the best in the department.
I'm sure it's just a matter of moments, mostly.
Yeah, you'll see.
Got any hobbies?
Yeah, making your life miserable.
I'm serious. Don't you shoot or chew or something like that?
No, I'm a freaking ballet dancer. Jeez. Yeah, I was #1 at the Louisiana State Fair Marksman Contest. I play trumpet, too. You know, put your lips together and blow.
He got weirdly hostile about that question.
How's your home life?
Oh,
I don't know.
real
Is
funny,
asking
mate.
about someone's hobbies
Just
such a
bringing
fucking
some freaking
personal
salt.
question?
You know Annie left me. My home life is shit.
Ah,
Right. Sorry about that.
so because your wife left you, you are now down to the one hobby, and you just have to imagine me right now doing the jerking motion. I'm imitating it with the cursor, but that's not really having the same effect, is it? You know.
Just tell me anything at all.
Remember how we used to play monkey in the middle? Man, we used to piss off our senior year teacher. What was her name? Oh, Miss McKelly. You'd act like you were gonna toss her an eraser or something, and then you'd throw it to me over her head. And we used to do it at your grand's too, like with the remote when she wanted to watch her soaps.
Yep. And it was a great way to pick up women in the library. Ah, those were the days.
Right.
Oh, no.
Sure, no problem. Okay.
Okay. Coffee?
How about getting...
Coffee? You want coffee?
Should that surprise you?
Nah, you've always been a caffeine addict. It's just that what we got here hardly qualifies.
So I'm desperate.
It's your stomach. I'll get you some when we're done talking.
That long?
All right, I'll go now.
Thank you, Mosley.
Don't touch anything while I'm gone.
I'm not going to touch anything, except your jacket. And the reason why it was imperative to turn on the heat, well, turn up the heat, was so that Mosley wouldn't be wearing his jacket when he's sitting down. And the reason for that
I'll
is
just borrow this badge.
we need his badge for something later.
Hey, what are you doing with my coat?
Nothing. I thought I saw something crawling on it.
Just drink this.
Thanks, tons. I mean it.
Gabriel does have that gift of everything he says sounds sarcastic, which, you know, has its moments.
Okay.
I got
Photographs.
those photographs you left for me.
Really? Great. What'd you think?
Astonishingly lifelike.
Yeah, that's what I thought. You got any more ideas for photos for the book?
A cop author
A
shot?
cop author photo might be nice.
You and me? Together?
Why not? Of course, you'll have to try to tone down your masculinity.
Well, okay. I'll call the police photographer. Franks, come in here a minute, would you? And bring your camera. I hate to put my coat on. It's so damn hot in here. But a picture's a picture.
What did you need, Detective Mosley?
We need a picture, please. And make it a good one, eh, sweetheart?
Sure, sweetheart.
Say chintzy.
Was there anything else, Knight?
Hold on a sec while I go check my hair.
Good God, Knight. Make it fast.
I like how Is there any reason for me to do this right now? I don't think there is a reason for me to do this right now, because I think this is the...
It's an in.
Yeah, I mean...
Would you just get in?
Yeah, I think that's how I win time to
Hurry up, would you?
do something else of moral, you know, upstandingness. Anyway, so as I was saying, I really liked how Mosley said night, because it sounded like an Australian guy saying mate.
Thanks, hon. Let me know when you get them developed. The photos, that is.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else, Knight?
Nope.
Great. Thanks, Franks.
You're astonishing, mostly.
Don't call me that in front of the lady, wise guy. Thank God I can take this thing off again.
Well, mostly, I think you've mostly ruined your chances by, you know, just being yourself.
Okay. Anything else?
Patterns around bodies.
Patterns around the bodies.
Yeah. Weird, huh? All 7 victims had those marks around them.
Not as weird as you,
We've
sweet
got all
friend.
the marks on file, but we haven't figured out what, if anything, they mean.
Other 6
Can I see
patterns.
the other 6 patterns?
Sure. People like that kind of stuff, don't they? Might make the book seem more mysterious. Go talk to Officer Franks. Tell her I said you could see the file.
Yeah, cheers, mate. Probably best not to insult him. I mean, we are still trying to keep off the pretense of friendship here.
I'll let you get back to it.
Later, Knight.
And there we had another glimpse of the murder weapon. There we go.
Excuse me, officer.
Yes?
Case file.
Can you get a file for me?
What file would that be?
The Voodoo Murders file. Detective Mosley said I could see it.
Really? Well, if you said so.
Indeed, just get the file, don't check with Mosley, just, you know, assume that I, a creepy man in a fucking leather trench coat with dirty blonde hair, am telling the truth and not, you know, I don't know, the murderer
There
or
it is.
something.
You can look at it all you want, but don't leave this area with it, okay? And no photocopies either, I'm afraid.
Of course. I understand completely.
Okay, let's look at it.
Gabriel opens and reads the police file.
Okay, so these are the other parts, and there's a definite roundness to many of the sections. Right. So I'm afraid we
Yeah,
do need
thanks.
to get a photocopy of that, so we need to do the whole picture thing again.
Detective Mosley.
Yeah. Dang air conditioning must be...
Mostly just called me a
Honest,
wanker.
You're the writer.
Photographs! Cop author. Do it.
Really?
Yes, just
Franks,
stop.
come back
Yep.
in here with that camera. I hate to put my coat on. It's so damn hot in here. But a picture's a picture.
Now what, sir?
This clown wants another picture. You don't mind, do you?
Of course not. What else could I possibly have to do? Ready?
Anything else?
Yeah, now I need to
Hold
check
on.
my hair.
Good God, Knight.
Ah, death. Death. And, yeah, grab that file.
Just wanna check this machine here.
Would you just get in here? Hurry up, would you?
Sorry, I went to check my hair, but I noticed that I needed a shave and
Okay,
a haircut.
Thanks, hun. Let me know when you get them developed. The photos, that is.
Yeah, sure.
Anything else, Knight?
Nope.
Nope.
Good. See you, Franks.
Uh-huh.
Thank God I can take this thing off again. Damn, it's hot.
I like how Franks is clearly a woman working in a kind of
Okay.
a
Anything
man's
else?
world kind of situation. Well, I don't think we need anything more, so
Trying for a real estate job with that coat?
No? Are you trying out for a janitorial job with that hair?
okay, good. He gives back, and actually, I think his might be a little bit more hurtful, but I think Gabriel's took a
Well,
little
I'll be
bit more
seeing ya.
thinking.
Have a good one.
Right, next to the map screen, and I think we still have time to visit the Voodoo Museum. Unfortunately,
Hello, I am the proprietor, Dr. John. If you have any questions, I would be happy to assist.
Great. My name is Knight, and I'll probably take you up on that.
that is some pretty kick-ass drum music out there. Yeah, so the thing is, this game has a lot of dialogue, a lot of lore that we need to get through. So the actual kind of state of progress might not be that quick.
We
Voodoo
wouldn't be
doll?
much of a voodoo museum without a voodoo doll.
Ooh, a flyer.
Magenta Moonbeam. Voodoo Inn.
A flyer advertised.
Can't take the pin. Cross.
Well, that looks sacrilegious. Wonder who that poor bastard was.
Tommy from down the street.
They lend a certain psychotic ambiance, no?
Oh, fuck off, I've got black candles. Twat.
This coffin is so small. This coffin is...
It is indeed quite small. A wishing
An
stump.
official voodoo wishing stump.
Funny, I say the same thing to women. I wish
Snap.
my Getty were mine forever. Really, I mean it.
What was that?
Oh, nothing.
No, no.
Handsome, isn't he? That must be Marie Laveau.
Indeed. Oh, that's a...
Something about the shape of that knife gives Gabriel the creeps.
Yeah, well, probably the fact that just a little while ago, Mostly was telling us about how, you know, that's the
What is
kind of
this?
knife.
Turn that thing off.
Oh, sorry.
We have air conditioning, you see.
Yeah, I see.
Indeed, air conditioning. And the snake goes fucking apeshit about it. Oh, that's
Reminds me
cool.
of a book critic for the New York Times.
Right, let's...
Dr. John is a huge. Given the man's size.
Are you saying that we can't operate Dr. John? Are you, game? No
Could I ask
fucking
you a few
shit.
questions?
That is why I am here.
What can you tell me about voodoo?
Historical voodoo, or the voodoo currently practiced in the city?
Right, well,
What do you know about the
again,
voodoo
let's go
murders?
from the top.
The killings in the newspaper. I know they have nothing to do with true voodoo in New Orleans.
What makes you think the voodoo murders aren't being done by local practitioners?
Voodoo is a popular boogeyman, Mr. Knight, especially in New Orleans. Anyone can pretend to use it, just as anyone can pretend to be a black belt in karate, and for the same reason, to intimidate. I know voodoo in this city, Mr. Knight, and believe me, it is not about killing. Even the police have stated that the killings have nothing to do with local voodoo.
What do you think of New Orleans?
It is the only city in the United States, as far as I am concerned.
Do you know anything about snakes?
Ah, you have perhaps noticed the museum snake, Mr. Knight? They are beautiful creatures. Do you not agree? And the tourists seem to associate them with voodoo.
Tell me about historical voodoo.
Very well. I will
My
start
hand
at the
slipped.
beginning, Mr. Knight, and we'll go on from there at your prompting.
Sounds good.
As you may know, voodoo is a grassroots religion, formed by the mixing together of many different African tribal religions and Anglo religions, such as Catholicism or Protestantism. In other words, it is a religion born of the African slave trade. But African slaves were imported not only by the United States, but also into the West Indies, where the French and Spanish ran plantation islands. Prior to 1803, the New Orleans area was owned by France. The French Creole in those days owned many African slaves. But the Creole did not permit their slaves to gather, giving no chance for voodoo to breed here natively. The Creole also knew enough about the corrupted pagan practices of the West Indies slaves to ban the importings of slaves from that region.
Interesting.
So how did voodoo come to New Orleans?
After the Louisiana Purchase, American legislators relaxed regulations. Slaves were permitted to gather. The Americans also removed the ban on West Indies slaves. Around the same time, a slave revolt occurred in Santo Domingo, what is now Haiti. Between the lifting of the ban and the Haitian Revolt, West Indies slaves began pouring into New Orleans. Some of them were free people of color, freed or escaped slaves. Some came with their white owners who were fleeing from the revolt.
Interesting. And I say interesting, and I will keep saying interesting, and the main reason for that is because, well, firstly, as I said, I've played through this game once, but there's so much information, there's so much kind of knowledge to be passed on that it's very hard to actually retain everything. And secondly, there's of course the fact that everything I know about voodoo is from the Monkey Island games, and I don't think those are very accurate in that sort of thing. So if they've actually gone to the effort of actually researching voodoo for this and actually presenting it out, the historical aspect of it out accurately, I fucking applaud them.
And what happened when the West Indies slaves got here?
They brought voodoo with them. The native slaves were more than enthusiastic about embracing it. It gave them power, Mr. Knight, if only in the form of a communal bond. Among the first meeting places were the Bayou St. John and the shore of Lake Pontchartrain. The early voodoos were heavy snake worshippers, worshipping the one they called the Great Zombie.
The Great Zombie.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
By 1817, The voodoo activities were beginning to cause fear among the white slave owners. An ordinance was passed to forbid slave gatherings except in designated public areas at designated times. The time was Sunday afternoons, at the place Congo Square. The slaves and free people of color gathered to dance simulations of their voodoo dances, right in sight of Creole society. Of course, they also continued to meet in private for the real thing.
Tell me more about historical voodoo.
There were a variety of kings and queens at first, voodoo priests and priestesses. But from about 1830, a single power emerged. This was a voodoo queen named Marie Laveau. Marie Laveau ruled voodoo in New Orleans for many years.
Tell me about yourself.
Me?
Yes, if you don't mind.
What is it you wish to learn?
Let's ask it.
You open a
Well,
voodoo
let's just go
museum.
from the top.
The subject has fascinated me all my life, and I wanted to help preserve the cultural heritage it represents.
What kind of background in voodoo do you have?
Let us just say I cut my teeth on it, Mr. Knight. It is in my blood.
Do you do anything besides run the museum?
No, the museum does not make me a rich man, but my material needs are simple. I prefer to focus on my one true interest in life.
What are your own religious beliefs?
My beliefs are too personal and too complex to discuss with a layman, Mr. Knight.
Okay, so zombie, as we might go for it, is according to the tenets of voodoo, is a dead person who's been revived by a boko or a voodoo sorcerer. However, zombie, spelled Z-O-M-B-I, is also another name of the voodoo snake god Dambala Wedo. I hope I'm saying it right, of Niger-Congo origin. So it's akin to the Congo word Nzabi, which means God. So that would be
Just tell me anything.
firmly rooted in the African
Originally from the
aspects
myself,
of voodoo.
Really? What brought you to New Orleans?
I was drawn here for personal reasons.
Okay.
Then
Current
Tell
voodoo.
me about current voodoo.
many people think of voodoo in terms of magic spells or gree-gree. That kind of practice is actually called hoodoo and is only a part of true voodoo. Voodoo, the religion, has a strong following in New Orleans. In fact, it is growing quite rapidly. There are several voodoo churches or temples in the city, and others all across the United States. African Americans see it as a tradition all their own. Whites, and there are many in the religion, are attracted to it because they think it is exotic. I personally am more interested in the history of voodoo. Some of the new movements are copying Haitian or even African voodoo, but it is the voodoo of New Orleans that I find so intriguing.
Tell me about Marie Laveau.
There were actually two Marie Laveaux, mother and daughter. Most people thought they were the same woman. Her continued youth added to the mystique. The original, the mother, was also known as Widow Paris. It was she that began the empire.
Tell me more about Marie Laveau.
The Laveau tomb, where one or both of the Maries are believed to be buried, is in St. Louis Cemetery No. 1. It is a popular shrine for practitioners and tourists alike. I myself take tours through the cemetery on a regular basis.
Really? Do you have any running this week?
No, But the cemetery is open to the general public as well.
What exactly is hoodoo?
Hoodoo refers to magic folk traditions of the South. Hoodoo is a bastard of voodoo. Many of the Gree are similar, but hoodoo does not have the religious aspects of voodoo.
Okay, so we've learned quite a bit about voodoo. And, yep, go back there.
Hello, Dr.
I want to ask about the note there.
Do you know this woman?
Magentia Moonbeam, yes. She is a local voodooian. There are many of them in New Orleans. They often do business selling gris-gris, telling fortunes, providing luck, and occasionally misfortune. I often refer those who seek a deeper experience with voodoo to her.
Fair enough. Would you like to tell me more about the lake pattern?
Do these marks look familiar?
They look like the scribbling of a child to me.
Okay, thanks.
Okay. How about that?
Does this mean anything to you?
I cannot say that it does.
Okay, well, you know, if you say
I'll
so.
come back again.
Although I do think you are full of bullshit. Okay, so St. Louis Cemetery, Moonbeam Residence, St. Louis Cathedral, Dixieland Drugstore.
Hello. Huh?
Bonjour, Monsieur Walker.
Bienvenue, Madame Casanova. Comment ça va? How you be feeling today?
Well, I'll tell you, Mr. Walker. I'm certain someone's buried a sleep knot bag somewhere near my steps. I haven't slept a wink, not in weeks.
Now don't that beat all. I'll need some easy night candles then, huh?
Do you think that would help? I do hope you're right. I said 3 rosaries this morning for Our Lady's intervention.
Rosary good, sure enough, but you buying them candles too, boy, you gonna whip any no-sleep gris-gris, I tell you for sure.
Very well, Mr. Walker. Put them on my account and send them around to my house. Oh, and there's another thing. I didn't catch her at it, but I know Mrs. Lefebvre put stomachache powder in my tea at the last meeting of the Creole Grand Dame. I've been in misery.
Now you put 9 pinheads up in the little box. Add a pinch of graveyard dust, put it up under her front post step. That'll turn the trick back on Miss Lefebvre, and she be the one with the bellyache. I got the pins of dust right here if you want them.
If the Blessed Virgin will grant me her protection, I'll be safe from these practitioners of evil.
Oui, madame. Though, don't hurt to be proactive neither now, does it?
Naturellement, monsieur. Merci beaucoup.
Mais non, madame. It's nothing. Au revoir.
Au revoir, Monsieur Walker.
Okay then. That was a strange exchange.
The sign says, Special St. John's Eve Lagnia. Free bottle of Lover Come Back to Me oil, or Master Gambling oil with every purchase over $50.
Lock me up. My French is lousy, but everyone in New Orleans knows what that means. A little something extra.
Damask appears to be made from a real crocodile head.
It does indeed. Hello, Willie.
Hi there. Is this your store?
This the Dixieland drugstore. And I own it. Me. Name's Walker. Willie Walker.
Can you tell me what you know about voodoo?
This is a novelty shop, monsieur.
Do you think I'm stupid? This is a voodoo shop. Look at all this stuff.
These is novelties, curiosities. If people want to think they magic, it's not my concern, you know?
What do you think of Nolans?
I live here all my life, me.
Are you telling...
Ça n'est pas affaire blanc.
What does that mean?
It means you should mind your own business, monsieur.
What do you think of Nolans?
If you're not from around here, monsieur,
What do you know about the voodoo murders?
caprice encore.
What did you say?
Nothing. Them killings have nothing to do with my shop, monsieur.
What can you tell me about St. John's Eve?
It's the biggest night of the year in voodoo.
What goes on exactly?
I couldn't say.
Do you know anything about animal masks?
The only one left is Willie Jr. over there, the old crocodile. He's sort of a mascot now, him.
What do you know about Marie Laveau?
Marie, she's somebody from the old days. One of them old folk tales. The tourists eat it up, no?
Do you know anything about snakes?
What kind of snakes?
The kind they use in voodoo?
Pythons, boas, so I've heard.
Really? Do you have one?
Are you crazy? What would I want with a python?
What did you mean when you said Caprice encore?
I didn't say that.
You did. I heard you say it.
You heard wrong, monsieur. I said no such thing.
That customer of yours, the little old lady.
Customer?
The woman I saw in here, Madame Casino, you called her.
I don't talk about my customers to men who come in off the street.
Well, anything could be said about
Tell me
Willie,
about
but
yourself.
at least he is a businessman.
My name's Willie Walker. I own the place.
How did you get into this kind of business?
Now, why should I discuss my business with you, man?
About Willie Jr. Would you be willing to let him go?
Maybe. For $100.
100? You gotta be kidding.
Me and Willie Jr. are very close now. I couldn't part with him for less.
Would you take 50 for Willie Jr.?
Don't insult me, monsieur. The price...
What?
You misheard, monsieur. The price was always 120.
Steal from us and the
Dixieland
police
drugstore has a rather
won't be the
terrifying
only
way
one
of
on your
dealing with
trail.
shoplifters.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so, we've gone for about 50 minutes, I think. There we go. And, yeah, I think it's time to end this episode here. We've made some progress, at least I think and hope so. So thank you for joining me, and please do return next time when we go deeper into the story. Goodbye.